again. This time, it is an early League One prediction. Now, I know most of you guys are probably still buzzing after MK Dons' promotion to League One, although I certainly am. But we're going to do a rough, quick, bit of a shorter one, but a League One prediction. And we're gonna come back to this video probably in 12 months' time and realise how wrong, or maybe how right, we both really were. Let's jump into it. So, 24th place then. Who are you
So
going with?
my 24th place, I've had to give to Bromley, just because they had 2 seasons in League Two before promotion. Obviously, they beat us in terms of the league table for League Two. I think because they've just come up from a National League, that's why we're going to find it hard. And I do believe with their stadium, it's not the best for League One football, because you look at other stadiums and they're sort of 40,000 capacity. I think MK Dons were sort of sixth, I think, and that's 30,000. So there's obviously big stadiums, and then their stadium is quite small. So that's the problem for me.
Interesting. Oh, I don't know. Bromley could surprise us. I mean, they were unbeaten at home, obviously all of last season. Just, just wondering who, could they survive in League One? They finished. They didn't have the best away record. Certainly, I think it was the last month winless away. But I don't know. I just don't know. They could be up for this. They could just survive. I don't think they'll finish 24th, personally.
Okay, is there a particular team you would have 24th?
Just right off the bat, I'll probably have to think about this more. Like, I'll do another prediction before the close to the season. But I think right now, if I had to pick a team finishing 24th, I'm staring at the league table. Um, Obviously in my heart, I hope AFC Wimbledon. I don't know. I actually don't know. I'm not going to put Bromley in 24th. I'm going to put total guess. I'm just going to go for Leyton Orient.
Okay, yeah, they managed to stay up at the end. It did look like a potential that they could be relegated. And then in terms of Leyton Orient as well, Marvin Ekapita used to play for them.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. Okay. Moving on to 23rd place, I've put Cambridge. I think because obviously they came up in third place, making it on the final day. I think that's why they're gonna struggle. The reason I didn't put them in 24th was just because they have been in League One a few times before. They seem to have done all right, but they're never sort of one of the teams that would finish in the top half of the table.
I agree with that last part, actually. I don't think Cambridge have ever finished top half of League One, so I understand that. Yeah, it'll be an interesting one. Will it be 23rd for 2 times in 3 years? For my 23rd, I am going to go with... You know what? Why not? AFC Wimbledon. Because they
Okay.
did not finish the season well. I'd have to Google the stats, but I know they lost I think it was 5 in a row towards the end. Didn't really win any didn't really win any of their last 6, 7 games. I think it was. They both don't know if they won one or not, but they finished the season with a lot of losses, and I don't really see them strengthening their squads. So I think, to be fair, I think the teams that have come up, they'll be a bit more up for it, and I don't think they'll finish as low as 23rd. And I think, to be honest, when you look at a team like AFC Wimbledon, obviously, knowing who we support, we wouldn't mind that. Okay, they won their
Yeah.
penultimate game, but lost again after that. And that was quite a heavy defeat. It was 5 defeats out of 6. I think it might have been possibly even worse than that. Maybe 6 out of 7. Yeah, I think when you're on that run of form, unless something drastic happens, you're probably going to go down. So I'm actually going to go for AFC Wimbledon 23rd place.
Okay.
Let's hope that's not wrong.
Yeah. So moving on to 22nd place, I put Notts County. Obviously, they were in National League, but I think the reason why they will be 22nd is because of the history they have. They won't be a team that will struggle massively. They'll be up for the fight, but I think at the end of the day, because they haven't been in that league for so long, they will just slip up towards the end, a loss of momentum, and then get relegated.
Right, so I think that's a fair point, actually. I think, to be honest, you just got to look at it. Notts County, I think they won 3 of their last 8 games. They did have a few losses as well. And I think, again, I talked about AFC Wimbledon, how you're not really going to survive unless something drastic happens, considering your recent woeful form. I think when it comes to Notts County, you look at it, you think, actually, unless you got a strengthen, you're probably not going to stay up either. Because if you're going to lose a few of your last 8 games in League Two, I think they've lost like, what was it, 4 of their last 7, I think it was, or 3 of their last 7. Yeah, they've got to really strengthen because they can't really 3 of their last 6 at least. Only won one of the last 4 regular league games. I know obviously they came up for the playoffs, but they've got to strengthen for me. I can't see them surviving in League One, so I'm actually going to agree with you here. I'm going to go for Notts County.
I think it's always hard with the team coming up from the playoffs for any league really, because obviously they haven't finished as high as everyone else, and I think with the Championship, obviously a different league completely, but with them having eighth being the playoff, I think if 8th place does go up, then they will just come straight back down.
Yeah, I think Notts County, it might be a bit too much for them, but then it might not be. We could be completely wrong. I mean, they might well survive. Who knows?
And something I've realised about my predictions is I put everyone who's come up so far. So
yeah, well, don't complete the quadruple. Don't put MK Dons in there.
no, for 21st, I've decided Wigan Athletic. I thought last year when I did League One prediction, I actually put them to finish first.
Oh wow!
Because I sort of wanted a surprise team to be up there, but not a team which is so unexpected. But I think they were sort of struggled to keep a consistent run of form. Obviously, John Mellish should be playing for them next year. Good player. So if there's any Wigan fans watching, MK looked after him well, and he's progressed massively, I think, since he came through the door at MK Dons. But I think with Wigan Athletic, it will be the same as Rotherham this year, where a big sort of floater of the Championship League One in previous years will end up going down.
Interesting. To be fair though, Gary Caldwell's back there. He won the league in his first stint. He got them up to 16th. I think they'll kick on, but interesting. Maybe you're right. Who knows? My 21st place, I've gone for. I mean, between Bromley and Burton for this. Who do I think is going to edge it? And
obviously, this is the last relegation spot as well.
Hmm. I probably got this wrong, and I might even change this when I make my prediction again, just towards the start of the season. But I'm going to go for Burton Albion. I always seem to predict them to get relegated, and they never do, and they probably won't. But I'm just thinking it just feels like it's between them and. Actually, no. What am I saying? I'm going to go for Cambridge United.
Cambridge, okay.
Yeah, I'm going to go for Cambridge United. So I have to think about that. I'm going to go for Cambridge United. I know they had quite a good end to. Obviously, they had quite a good season last season, but then at the same time, they weren't really winning many games towards the end of the season. They kept drawing, and actually, yeah, I've got the table here. They won one of their last four, two of their last six. I think it might even be more than two of their last six. Obviously, they lost one of those games as well. They just weren't. They didn't seem to sort of win games as much as they were earlier on sort of like in the midway point of the season. And I think they might struggle in League One given that end of form. I don't know. I call that Notts County. I talks about their end of season form and how they got to be better in League One. I think it might be a similar story with Cambridge United. But in saying that, they did have by far the best defence in the league. So who knows? Maybe they'll continue that on into League One. But could it be a case of too good for League Two, not good enough for League One?
It's interesting. We've both decided to put Cambridge and Notts County as going down.
Yeah, we have, haven't we?
So the next spot is 20th place. And I wouldn't be surprised if we ended up playing them at home towards the end of the season, because a lot of the time it does feel like this. And that is, of course, Mansfield Town.
Mansfield Town, you put them as low as 20th.
Yeah, I think given the teams I put above them, to me it kind of made sense. I think if they do get recruitment right in the summer, they can probably push on to maybe finish about 14th, 15th. But realistically, I put them 20th. Obviously, they've never really been a team in the. I don't think they have ever been in the Championship, actually, but they've definitely been floating around League One and League Two.
Interesting. For my 20th place, and it's just a gut feeling. Right now, I'm going to actually put Bromley. I was saying that 21st was between Bromley and Burton Albion, then I thought about Cambridge United, but I just think it's because I remember when they went up a couple of seasons ago to League Two, and I remember thinking they're going to go straight back down. This is Bromley, won the playoffs. They're not a Football League status club at the time, and we didn't really know a lot about them. Obviously, they proved everyone wrong, and fair play to them, but I can't see them. I mean, I could be wrong. They've been on the rise. Had a respectable first season back in the EFL, and then obviously stormed it a lot with this season. But I've just, given the way they ended the season, I mean, they won one and drew two of their last, sorry, and lost two of their last four games. And actually, they did also go on a bit of a drawing spree as well before they started winning again. And when I think about some of their recent wins before the final day of the season, it was all 1-0. And I think we saw Port Vale do something similar last season, but they did pretty good in League Two, but couldn't really hack it in League One. Bromley could be something similar, but I just feel like under Andy Woodward, given they were unbeaten at home, I just don't think they'll go down.
Yeah, I think he's certainly a good manager, and it'd be interesting to see if Freddie Woodman ends up playing under him one day, because obviously father and son duo. We saw that with Tommins and Paul Ince. I think it was at Reading.
Was it Reading? Yeah, fair enough. Was it at Blackpool as well?
Possibly Blackpool, but definitely Reading, yeah. And I think
good manager Paul Ince, wasn't
he?
I
think Tom Ince played for MK Dons at one point, but not under Paul.
Maybe. I have to check that. Maybe so. Right,
So,
who have you... Yeah?
yeah, 19th place is a team you've put towards the bottom, and it is, of course, rivals AFC Wimbledon.
AFC Wimbledon, or should I say AFC Milton Keynes Dons, considering how obsessed they were being Wimbledon FC, who eventually had to become Milton Keynes Dons. Just a little thoughts.
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
I,
AFC
I was
Wimbledon.
speaking, I was speaking to a friend the other day, and he was like, "How can you support MK Dons? They stole a club." I was like, "No, they saved a club from extinction. Obviously, they changed slightly, but I think towards the end of Wimbledon FC, no one really cared about the team. So,
Yeah. I've always said that if it was stolen, then those involved in the move would have confirmed it to be stolen, but they never did.
yeah.
Yeah, but by which I mean, you just don't see those involved just confirming it. And I think if I was involved in a move like that, it would have stolen, then I would have said so, that it was stolen personally. That's just my view. Right, I'm gonna go for my 19th place now. Who do I think will finish 19th? I'm gonna go for Peterborough United.
Okay.
I know Luke Williams. Yeah, I've got off to a good start under him, but just hasn't really been the same the last couple of years. And I think I look at their last 6 games. It was 4 losses, 2 draws. They're not really winning games. They finally have scored a respectable 64 goals, um, which uh, which is actually 15 more than sixth place Stevenage scored in the league. But I don't think they're really gonna kick on right now, and I don't think they're in a great place. I'm gonna predict another tough season for the team. I'm gonna put them in 19th place.
Yeah, so going on to 18th place is another team you've already mentioned in Leighton Orient.
All right, let's get that typed in. Go on.
I think it's the season they've just had will sort of repeat itself, and they won't really change an awful lot around the club. So that's why I put them in 18th, and they've never been in the. In fact, they may have been in the Championship, but not stayed there for very long. Because I remember they were a good League One outfit about 10 years ago, but then they got relegated to National League, and now they're back in League One. But yeah, I can't really see them finishing in the top half when you've got the teams that I've put in top half, basically.
Yeah, I mean the reason I put them in bottom is just that I don't know if they ended the season well, but I think Dom Ballard is his name. He was a top scorer. I think if he stays, they stay up. But it's a bit like when MK Dons when he got promoted, and then yeah, they lost some of their players, and this wasn't really the same. Maybe they were getting relegated. I just don't see a squad right now that's improving. And yeah, maybe I mean maybe they will stay up to be fair, but I just think they're gonna be down there. In
Yeah.
my opinion, I can see Richie Wellens possibly getting the sack as well. Right, my 18th place is I mentioned them once, I'm going to mention them again. Burton Albion. That's just where they are for me right now. Just down there. They've been in the relegation battle for a few seasons now, but they've always survived. So I think they're gonna probably survive again. I think they were unbeaten in the last 6. Yeah, Unbeaten in the last 6 with 5 draws and 1 win. It could have been more than that, but I'm not really going to look into it too much detail right now. But I never really see them improving from being in the bottom third of the league, to be honest. And I just can't see it happening again.
Yeah, well,
that they improve.
I strongly agree with you there because, funnily enough, I've put them in 17th.
All right. You know what? Can you imagine if one of us actually gets this table right?
What we should do is come back at the end of the season and see who has been the closest with this table. Obviously,
Okay.
I'm not expecting many to be correct because it is such a competitive league, but it will still be interesting to see who's been the closest out of the two of us. Yeah.
Right. Right, so my 17th place is going to. So I keep looking at. I've got the wall chart up on my wall. Can I keep looking at that? I'm gonna go for. You know what? I'm probably gonna make it a bit wild here. I'm gonna go for Doncaster Rovers.
Okay.
Why not? Let's go for Doncaster Rovers. I know they had a respectful first season back in League One. I know they've got a good manager in Grant McCann. They won 3 of their last 5 games. But they still lost 20 league games. And they were sort of, in and around that sort of place, that sort of position. Is that around again near the bottom thirds of the league table for most of the season. And I just don't really see them improving. I could be completely wrong. Grant McCann, sorry, he's done some good work there so far in his first stint as well. I know he got them into the playoffs. So he could have turned the corner. But I don't know, just thinking right off the bat, what was it? Fresh off the boat, is it? The metaphor. I'm just gonna put them in 17th. Why not?
Right. It's very interesting you put them in 17th because I put them in 16th.
So basically, what's happening now is whoever I put a place below, you put a place higher.
Yeah. So although I've done the table around lunchtime, so I didn't change any of the teams. So it's not like you said a team and I'm oh yes, I like that team in that place. No, it's just a coincidence really. But it's also good to see that we sort of agree with the ballpark of where they will be in the table.
Fair enough, yeah. So my 16th place. They improved. They got themselves out of the relegation battle, but it was probably a bit of a painful season for the fans. I've gone for Blackpool.
Okay, I've put them a lot higher up the table.
Yeah, I could be wrong. I mean, you know what? I probably am wrong with this. Is it too late to change? I mean, they won 5 of their last 6 games. I can't put them in 17th.
Put them where you want to put them because obviously this is very early predictions.
You know what? I'm gonna leave it for now. Only because I don't really see anyone else really finishing 7th. What was this? 16th. I'll leave it for now. It's because Barnsley have appointed Daniel Stender again. Otherwise, I'd probably put them in 17th. But I think they're going to finish a lot higher.
Yeah. So on to 15th place. Okay, I hope I'm wrong with this one.
Yep.
But it's yours truly, MK Dons.
I knew you were going to say MK Dons there.
I think going back to how competitive the league will be, I think they might struggle. It obviously won't be as easy as League Two. Obviously, we've had our struggles in League Two as well, so it's not like we've always been at the top end of that league. Obviously, I associate MK Dons with being a playoff League One team, but haven't been in a long time really. I think with letting so many players go, that's another factor of not being as high as I wanted. If I look back on this in August and the recruitment's been right, we've had a very similar window to how we did last year, then maybe I can see them finishing just outside of the playoffs. But yeah, I don't really see a reality where they do finish in the playoffs.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I'm going to put them slightly higher than 15th, I think. For 15th, I'm going to go for Reading. I've had a look at the league table, and they lost 4 of their last 5, winners in their last 6, at least. And nothing, again, like I said, it's early days, but I just haven't really seen anything change for me to sort of put them anywhere higher. I know, to be fair, I mean, they finished in the top half. They were playoff contenders initially, but they fell away. I'm going to go for Reading in 15th.
Okay.
Who's your 14th place?
14th. Okay, so this team is edging being the best team in Buckinghamshire. That's Wycombe Wanderers. By 1 place is the better team. But hopefully, like I say, hopefully I'm wrong with that. I think because they finished just outside of the playoffs this year, and it did look like they could go up at one point despite a shaky start to the season. I think a lot of the players they've got might end up leaving and joining different teams. We saw that last year when Richard Kone joined QPR, for example. And I think with Wycombe Wanderers, it's the sort of team that they won't finish that high up, but they'll finish high up enough that other teams will look at their players.
Yeah. It's an interesting one. Yeah, it's been quite heartbreaking for Wycombe Wanderers, hasn't it, over the last years, the last few years? I mean, relegation from the Championship, playoff final heartbreak. Season before this one just gone, they were second for all those months, and they still finished 5th and couldn't get into that playoff final. Who do you want to be a Wycombe Wanderers fan, eh? Or a football fan in general? Yeah. Right, I've done something similar to you here for 14th place, but I haven't gone for the same team in Buckinghamshire. I'm going to go for us. Milton Keynes Dons in 14th.
The tables have turned. You're putting the team 1 place higher now.
The tables have turned. You know, if we get this right, by the way, we should start predicting the lottery. I've gone for us because, I mean, like when I think about it, I think of Paul Bourne. He's never finished lower than 7th in League Two. In 5 League One seasons, he's been promoted 4 times. 3 with Rotherham United, 1 with Derby County, finished second 3 times, 4th the other time got promoted, and like I said, the only other time was when he finished 1 place outside the playoffs. I think he's he's a very good League One manager, and I think we've got a pretty good squad with Callum Patterson, Nathaniel Mendes-Lang, Aaron Collins, Craig McGillivray, just to name a few. Alex Gilby as well, Liam Kelly, etc. Right? I do. Well. Yeah, exactly. But Marvin Ekpiteta, I mean, I keep saying I was always called on that lack of. Really. Exactly, I was calling the lack of clean sheets out, but towards the end. But to be honest, the defence went through a brick wall, right? Jack Sanders, Curtis Nelson, Kane Wilson, Ben Wells, they're all League One quality players, in my opinion. And even, like I say, with the strikers, for example, they've both scored goal in the Championship. And I think we've got a good squad, which I'm hoping will just get better. But saying that, I don't want to get my hopes up too much. We have been on winter spells this season. We didn't win the league for a reason, if you like, and it's important that we don't get too carried away and we be realistic. So I've gone for us in 14th. Quite frankly, if we were to finish higher, absolutely fine by me. But realistically, I think right now 14th to be a good season for us, and then we kick on.
I want 2-3 seasons in League One. What I'm worried about is, and we've seen it with different teams before, if they go up too soon, the cookie sort of starts to crumble, and it ends up being worse for them.
Yeah. I mean, that kind of happened with Dons when we went up in the end. We just weren't really the same after that until Liam Manning came in, and then I remember for so long of that season, I was scared of the same thing happening again if we went up. That I didn't want us to go up, only for even worse to happen and us stay in League One.
Okay, so
Yeah,
going
onwards and upwards.
going on to 13th, it's a similar theory to sort of Wycombe Wanderers for me. I've put Stockport County into 13th. I think just because obviously they have had 2 good seasons, but I think teams will look at their players and think potentially they might be too good for League One, and then sort of Championship teams along the lines of Charlton and Preston might take a player. I think just because I've got a feeling playoff teams will sort of be around mid-table, without sort of saying where I think other teams will finish.
Fair enough. For my 13th place, I'm going for Wigan Athletic. Wigan Athletic are not the same Wigan Athletic who won the League One title 3 times in the last 10 years. They've had some real tough seasons. They're obviously in a relegation battle before Gary Caldwell returned to the club, and in doing so relegated his old club Exeter City. But I don't think right now they've got the squad that is going to be challenging for the playoffs. I think they're a mid-table League One side right now, and I think that's just where they're going to finish. But I could be wrong. Gary Caldwell is a pretty good manager. But other than when he won the league with Wigan Athletic, he's never really finished inside the top 6 otherwise. And I don't think it's going to be any different this season coming up. I'm going to go for Wigan Athletic 13th place.
So going on from my theory of playoff teams finishing mid-table, I have put Stevenage in 12th. I think the same will happen with them. Other teams will look at their players and they might not be able to get as good of players in. I think obviously they're just scraped into the playoffs, but I think it will still be the same case really.
You know what? There's an interesting point to make about Stevenage, right? Is that they scored less goals than Exeter City got relegated.
Yeah.
They only scored 49 goals. But then to the contrary to that, they had the second best defence in the league, with Philip Marshall as their goalkeeper. They only conceded 46 goals, and the only team who conceded less goals was Lincoln City, with 41. But then on the contrary, they only scored 49 league goals. And that's also not something you can really rely on if you want to, go up and kick on. Really, I think it will score more goals than that. I know it got them into 6th, but
I think
it's not always going to be the case, is it?
I think with Stevenage as well, just looking back on it, they almost got relegated from League Two. I think it was like the final day they managed to stay up.
Right, yeah. I mean, they've had their relegation fights, haven't they? But fair play to them, though. They've shown how to get back up. Who knows? But for my 12th place, I am going with a team in Buckinghamshire, Wycombe Wanderers. Okay. I don't think it's the same Wycombe Wanderers as it has been before. I know Michael Duff wants to succeed, but it hasn't really happened in my opinion. They lost 4 of their last 6. They've only won 1 of their last 6, and something's really got to change. But they're not really doing fantastically at the moment. They're not a team that's challenging for promotion. They're a mid-table League One team, and that's where I'm going to put them.
Yeah, obviously I agreed with mid-table League One team as well.
Me and you both agree then. Right, so who's your 11th place?
11th, I've put a team you've put near to 11th being Reading. I think obviously they had good spells in the Championship for a long time, but they had, I think it was like financial breaches, and so they had to sell most of their players. The youth players sort of came up; they couldn't really get many players in, and I think from that they've sort of struggled to go on and return to their ways. Obviously, one of their former players at the time of Championship being Liam Kelly, who's
Yeah.
obviously at the Dons, and then I just see them finishing mid-table. I think they finished around mid-table last year. I want to say as well. So yeah.
Fair enough. In 11th place, I'm going to go for a team that you put to fight relegation this season. I'm going for Mansfield Town because obviously they finished. Where did they finish last season? They finished 10th. I've beaten the last 6. And for a team like Mansfield Town, 10 points off the playoff, 65 points. I think that's quite respectable. But I just see them again, just sort of in and around those sorts of positions that I don't really think they'll be kicking on from that. They got a good manager. Get his name now. Is their manager? Oh, I've forgotten his name, but I called him a good manager. Let's see. Nigel Clough. Sorry, I forgot his name, and he's been there before. He's managing the League One promotion teams, managing the Championship, but
I want to say he's managed Mansfield, but I might be wrong.
No, he's the manager of Mansfield, Nigel Clough. I just forgot what his name was for a moment. I don't. Yeah, I just see them in and around there. I think 11th is probably where they're going to finish, and then they'll try and kick on from that. But I'm just going to go for them 11th.
I remember he beat MK Dons a couple seasons ago, and it was like whichever team went up, and then MK obviously lost, and his team went up, and yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what was the points difference? It was like 5 points in the end. If only we'd won that and they'd lost, we would have finished above them.
Yeah.
Wasn't to be, but yeah, that season was all like, we got so close, but we just couldn't get into the automatics. But yeah, I remember that game. No, 86 points. So if we'd have won that, they would have got 83. We'd have got 81. Yeah, it just wasn't to be that season. It just wasn't to be. If we'd have won that and we would have beaten Sutton United, then that's what we would have got up. But yeah, we just couldn't get over the line, could we? Anyway, at least we're over the line now.
Yeah, so on to sort of the teams just finishing outside of the playoff spaces. In 10th place, I've gone for what I think is an obvious choice in Barnsley. I think they've always been around sort of Championship, League One, and yeah, I think they just finish outside of the playoffs. I feel like they'll have a season where they might not start great, then they go on a run of form, but towards the end it will drop again, and they'll fall from the playoff spaces into about 10th. I think the higher you go up the league, I think the more competitive it's going to be next season. Fair
enough. Well, for the second time in this video, me and you both have got a prediction that matches, because I'm also going to go for Barnsley in 10th.
Okay.
I want to make a point about their manager. It's Daniel Stendel. This is the manager that did get them promoted to the Championship 2018 to the 2019 season. They finished second. I think it was 3 points behind Luton Town. Then Luton just dominated League One that season. So it is worth bringing in, same manager. So they're going to have high expectations. If this somebody who's got himself quite a good name in the Barnsley history books. But at the same time, you've got to remember that this is a different squad. And they could get off to a good start. They could be in and around there. But I just can't see them getting into the playoffs right now. I could be wrong. And like I say, I'll probably make another formal prediction towards the start of the season, and I could be putting them in a completely different place. But I've agreed with you. I'm gonna go for Barnsley in 10th. Let's see how many more matching predictions we'll have.
Yeah. So on to ninth, and I've put a team that finished in the playoffs this year, being Bradford City, who this will be their second season in League One. Recent history, they've sort of been a League One team, in my opinion. They've had some good
Yeah.
players, and I think because of that, and they're trying to sort of recreate that, and they did well last season with that. That's why they finish where I've put them. I think again, because they were a playoff team which didn't go up, teams will look at their players.
Fair enough. In 9th place, I'm gonna go for Stevenage.
Okay.
I mentioned their lack of goals, but then also I mentioned their really good defence. I they may struggle to make the playoffs, but they're going to be challenging in my opinion. I mentioned his name again. It's a name that Don fans won't have the best memories of, but there's no denying that he's gone on and made a real name for himself since, and had quite a good career to put it all behind him. That's Philip Marshall. He won the Golden Glove this season. He's done pretty good, and I don't know their defenders leaving, and I think they're going to be quite tight next season, quite hard to beat, but the lack of goals might just see them fall out of the playoffs this time. So I've gone for Stevenage in 9th.
Okay. In 8th place is a team you've put way near the bottom in Peterborough. I think
Interesting.
I always associate them with sort of being in the top 10 of League One. Obviously, they were in the Championship a few seasons ago, and I would like to see them back in the Championship. But I just think they don't really have the massive squad depth at the moment, or the sort of players you can look at and think, yeah, they should be playing in the Championship.
Yeah, I mean, I get that. To be fair, Luke Williams did get off to a good start, but it seemed to fall. It seemed to sort of wither away again. So I just can't really see them in that top half personally. But you could be right. I'm sure Peterborough United fans will probably take it next season. Who knows? I'm going for my 8th place now, and it's a team that have been challenging for the playoffs, but never really quite made it. That's Huddersfield Town.
Okay, I've put
Obviously,
a similar position. Yeah,
I think Huddersfield Town will get off to a really good start, like they have done the last 2 seasons, and I think they're going to wither away a bit. They just can't seem to sort of stay in the top 6 at the moment. They can score. If you look at the league table, they scored 74 goals and only 4 teams. Sorry, 3 teams. If I can count properly, only 3 teams scored more than them. Saying that, 63 goals conceded, 64 goals conceded. No side in the top half conceded more.
yeah. A little fun fact about Huddersfield Town. I went and saw them last season at Kenilworth against Luton Town, and Ben Riles came on from the bench, and about 4 or 5 minutes later, he came off injured.
Oh wow! At least it wasn't a serious injury because he has been a good player for us this season.
Yeah.
Thank God for that. 7th place and just missing out the playoffs. Who have you gone for?
So it is a team you've put already. You've put them about 10 places below. I've gone with Blackpool.
Fair enough.
I think
You know what? You probably got this right.
they're a historic sort of seaside team who had players like Charlie Adam in the for Premier League with them. I remember they got relegated 2011, where I don't remember, but I've seen highlights because that was the widest
Yeah.
relegation from Premier League ever. But it was like 15th could even go down, and the table kept changing. And I remember it was just like it was against Manchester United. I think it finished like 5. Like they
4-2,
managed to
wasn't
score
it?
3, but Man United scored maybe like one more, I think, and it was like just such a back and forth game. I think with Blackpool, I associate them being a championship team, although obviously they've been in League One for years, Championship for years, Prem for years. They've never really sort of found a league where they just stay in the same league, really.
Hmm. Interesting. To be fair, they won 5 of their last 6 games? I probably have to. I think I've got my Blackpool prediction wrong. To be fair, yeah, won the last 4 and 5 of the last 6. I probably will change the Blackpool one for now. But I'll leave it for now. But yeah, I'll probably change that. But I think you make a good point actually. I don't think they'll finish as high as 7th though. For me, in 7th place, I'm gonna go for. Looking at the league table, I am gonna go for Bradford City. Graham Alexander showed that he is not a bad manager. Obviously, it didn't really work out from MK Dons, but he had a very good season last season, finishing 4th on 77 points, same amount of points as Stockport County. Only scored 58 goals. Only one team in the top 12 scored less. That was obviously Stevenage, but at the same time, it's they only conceded 51. They were in the playoffs the whole time, won 22 league games, which is quite commendable. But they only won 1 of their last 5 games, and I always had a feeling that Bolton would be able to take advantage of that, and that's what happened. So I'm going to go for Bradford City in 7th.
So moving on to the playoff spaces, I've gone 6th place Huddersfield Town. I think I associate them with being a championship team, really. I think they had championship players even sort of in the Premier League, and it wasn't that long ago that they were in the Prem. I think they will want to try and solidify themselves to be a top half championship team again. Not sort of in the not so distant future, really. And I think they will try and get some good players in. They've got, for me, a really good fan base. I think that's why I put them in 6th, really.
For my 6th place, I'm going for Plymouth Argyle. Took them a while to get going last season, this season. But they won 3 of the last 4, unbeaten in the last 6. Scored 75 goals, which was only beaten by the top 2. And I think Tom Cleverley has turned it around, but I think at the same time, I do think the other 5 teams that I haven't mentioned yet, I think they're going to be a little bit better than Plymouth Argyle. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna leave them in 6th.
No, what's interesting is there's 4 teams that neither me or you have mentioned yet. So it'd be interesting to see in which order we put those 4 teams.
Yep, it will be. Who's your 5th place?
Yeah, so 5th place, I've gone with Plymouth Argyle.
Okay.
I think obviously, they just missed out on the playoffs last year. It looked for sort of a few minutes on the final day that they could get a playoff spot. Obviously, they had 2 years in the championship. I thought they did okay. They had a few good players, I thought, in the championship. Morgan Whittaker and Bali Mumba. Obviously, they've both moved on now. I think Michael Cooper was there, the Sheffield United keeper. So they're good at sort of producing players and sort of looking after players as well, I think. And their recruitment will be reasonable in the summer, and so they'd get a deserved playoff spot.
That's fair enough. Yeah, it's interesting. Some teams you haven't mentioned, but we've got a similar expectation for some of these teams, haven't we?
Yeah.
Right. So my fifth place, I'm gonna put Sheffield Wednesday.
Okay.
It's obviously been a very turbulent off season for them, and I think respect has to go to the club for the fact that he managed to survive, managed to get through it. But I think they're going to be rejuvenated next season. They obviously actually won their last game of the season against West Bromwich Albion. They won 2-1. It was their first home win all season. And actually, if you look at their recent results, they didn't actually lose all of their last few games. If that makes sense. They drew 3 of their last 6. I know they didn't lost a couple, but they drew to Coventry City, didn't they? They drew to teams like Watford, Leicester City. I know they went down. But they started to get a little bit better. If I look at some of their fixtures. Okay, I know they lost heavily to Oxford United. They lost narrowly to Middlesbrough, and that was only for a goalkeeper mistake. They drew to Charlton Athletic, drew to Coventry City. I think I saw some improvements there, and I think it will be a different type of season for Sheffield Wednesday. I think they will be more motivated as well, given the end of the season. And yeah, I think they'll be challenging. I think they turned a bit of a corner. And you know what? I hope they will be as well under new ownership. It'll be nice to see.
Yeah, I think obviously there was potential that they may have started with -15, but that got turned, and now it's 0, so it's an even playing field.
Yeah.
So yeah, going into the top 4 now. In 4th place, I've gone for Oxford United. I think we played them in the cup, and for me, both teams were definitely evenly matched, and that can be backed up by the score, of course. I think.
It's like they went to penalties.
Yeah, I think with a team like Oxford United, you don't really expect them to win the league just because I do associate them with being a League One team.
Yeah. That's fair enough. So you're going to put Oxford United in 4th. Well, it's a case of snap because so have I. I think Matt Bloomfield did turn things around. But it was too little, too late. I think if he'd been there the whole season, I think they would have stayed up. A bit like when Luton Town had in their previous season. But I don't think they're going to go up automatically. I think they're a good side. I think they've got some good players. I think they're going to be up for it. But they lost Will Lancashire. He's gone back to Tottenham Hotspur. He was quite a big player for them last season, and they need to replace him. And I think the other 3 sides who I haven't mentioned yet, and funny enough, you haven't mentioned, I think they're going to have more firepower in them. So I'm going to go for Oxford United to finish 4th, but definitely challenge for promotion.
Yeah,
interesting season, I think it'll be.
Yeah, 2 teams we haven't mentioned, and I think I'm struggling to work out what the other team is on yours. But I think with Oxford
I miscounted, didn't I? Yeah. Go on with Oxford's.
With Oxford United, I think they'll probably make the playoff final, but whether they win or lose or not, I'm not sure.
Interesting. Who have you gone for in 3rd place?
Yeah, so joining them in that playoff final, I've gone for Sheffield Wednesday.
That's interesting. You've already predicted them to finish in the playoff final. Well, not the odds will be for that. Yeah, so Sheffield Wednesday in 3rd. Let's hear why.
It was very much a case of so close between 2nd and 3rd. I think Obviously, Sheffield Wednesday, they can't spend a lot of money this year, although we have seen that shouldn't really be a problem with obviously Hull being promoted from the playoffs in the Championship. I think with Sheffield Wednesday, because of their sort of history and being such a big team, that's why they will finish so high up. I feel like some of their young players who have come through have been quite good as well. I think it's quite nice to see how so many fans have sort of got behind their team despite what's been happening out of their control, because it is so easy to sort of give up on your team if you're, unless you're a hardcore fan, just so easy to give up on your team if results aren't going your way and you're on minus points for the whole season.
Yeah. I think so. I mean, it's interesting because usually with teams like that, you just think, well, they're not really worth watching. And I think the fact that they could draw against Coventry City and they got better implies that there is some potential there. But the truth is, it's just been a really torrid season, turbulent season. And yeah, I think the game against West Bromwich Albion was one of the highest, if not the highest, attendance recorded figure for the season. So that just goes to show a lot about the fans. I think fair play to the fans. If you're a Sheffield Wednesday fan, you know it's a write-up, but you know also that there's hope for the future and the turbulent times are hopefully over for them. You know what? I wish them well. It can't be nice, you go from being mid-table in the Championship to this. I wouldn't even wish it on AFC Wimbledon.
Yeah,
and they're my least favourite team,
Yeah, I remember when Danny Rowe was manager, I thought they might even finish in the playoffs.
Yeah. Yeah, who knows? It is what it is, but you know what? I hope they do. I hope they do. I really do. In my third place, just missing out, I've gone for. You know what? I'm gonna go for Luton Town.
Okay.
I could be wrong here. I think under Jack Wilshere they got better. I remember being in and around Luton once, just because I had a job interview there, and we stopped back in Orford on the way back for a different thing that we needed to inquire about. And I remember one of the senior sort of, if you like, workers or directors, if that's the right term to use, saying how hungry Jack Wilshere is, he really wants it, and how Matt Bloomfield sort of was good, but he knew he was going at the end. And I think that hunger from Jack Wilshere has finally transpired to his alternate pitch, but it was just too little, too late, really. Forgot to, I'm going to look at the League One table. They won 5 of the last 6. Yeah.
1 point behind Bolton, which is
yeah. They did. I think they beat Bolton on the final day of the season, didn't they?
They did, yeah.
It was just too little, too late. But I think they've sorted themselves out in that sense. I think they're going to be in the top 3, and I think they're going to have quite a good season.
Yeah, and it was so because I also follow Luton Town a little bit as well, and it was so nice to see a day out at Wembley for the Virtue Trophy, and they managed to beat Stockport 3-1 despite going 1-0 down. I think that just shows that they are a good team, and obviously being in the Premier League recently sort of backs that up also.
Yeah. Who's your second place then?
Yeah, so like I say, it was so close. I kept changing my mind between second and third, really, and it was the only one where I really changed my mind. And for me, it's got to be a team starting with the letter L, and that team is Luton Town. I think they're unfortunate not to go up. Last year, I think I sort of thought, yeah, they're definitely going to go up because the last team before them to be back-to-back relegated from the Premier League was Sunderland in 2017, and I thought they won't do. They will do well. They've got good players, even though Elijah Adebayo was out injured for most of the season, and one or two others. I think you just look at their squad, and for me, it's just championship level players, and I think because of that, that's why they're gonna go back up. January was a busy window, so many different changes, and I think if they get the players right in terms of who's staying, who's going, they'll just push on from there really, because they've got a big squad, and that's why I put them in.
That's fair enough, right? So, I've gone for Stockport County in seconds, and obviously that both means we think Leicester City will win the league. So, I know there's talk of Dave Challinor, I've just said that right, going to Blackburn Rovers. There's all rumours so far, but I think they've got a good squad, Stockport County, and I think they'll be able to. No, I've mistyped that. I just think they're gonna. I think this is the season where they're gonna do it. They finished third 2 seasons in a row. They've been up there, and I know they lost heavily in the playoff final with the Baltimore Wanderers, but I've just got a feeling that they'll be able to do it this time. It's just what I'm thinking. I could be wrong, but that basically means we've both put Leicester City in first. So let's do this one together. Obviously, they somehow got relegated again to League One. And like we say, the last 2 teams who have done that have not gone straight back up, but. I mean, look, the squad is surely too good for League One, right? Some of those players have been in the Premier League. Some of those players have been in the Premier League where they survived. They can't not win this league, can they?
Harry Winks is playing for them. He's played in a Champions League final.
There you go.
And that's just one of the players. You look at all the other players, and they're just fantastic players, really. And I think. Could it happen where they have a season where similar to Luton last season? Possibly, but is it to be expected? No. Obviously, they've won the Premier League 10 years ago. They had a match the other day to celebrate that with the former players who have now retired, and some of the players in the stands, such as Vardy and Schmeichel, and then a couple of players who still have clubs contract too, so they couldn't be there. But no, it's only 10 years ago since they won the Prem, and from that European nights, Community Shield, I think, was it the FA Cup 2021 against Chelsea? So much success. But I think if you were to tell a Leicester fan 15 years ago they'll be in League One, they go up to the Premier League, they'll survive Great Escape with 7 games left in 2015, and then go on to win the Premier League and have European nights against Roma and Benfica and other teams like that. And I think, and then if you tell them you win the FA Cup, you win the Community Shield, but then you go down to League One, I think they'd actually take that.
I'm not sure if I would, but then depends if I could go back up and then near towards the Premier League again. But it's an interesting one. I mean, if there's a Leicester City fan watching this, let us know. Would you have taken it? I don't know if I would, but I think it just depends on the unknown. Are you glad Fiorentina missed the penalty and you went up as champions, storming the league and carried on some momentum? Let us know. And you know what? That's our predictions. Some of it is similar, some of it is wildly different. Have we got it right? Have we both got it horribly wrong? Do you agree with one more than the other? Let us know. What's your predictions? Is it too early for predictions? Will we end up changing our predictions? Have I got it completely wrong with Blackpool? given how well they finished last season, 16th. I mean, should I be swapping that with something like MK Dons or Wigan Athletic or Wycombe or Reading? Let us know. Let us know. You know what? I think I might do that. I think I'm going to have a Blackpool in 15th. I put Reading in 16th. Why not?
Yeah.
Probably got it horribly wrong, but like I said, I don't know about you. I think I'm going to do. I'll probably do a more formal prediction towards the start of the season, but this is just
Yeah, and
a rough one
obviously, yeah,
straight
towards
off
the
the
start,
bat, isn't it? Yeah.
yeah, towards the start of the season will be an even longer video. So I said this will be a short video, but it's been over an hour. So
Yeah, I said a short video. It wasn't like that, was it? So please forgive my mistake. But yeah, is that everything? Anything else you want to add?
no, I think we've covered all the teams because I basically just wanted to do a quick video, like I said, to say right, this team's going to finish there, this team's going to finish there. So
Fair enough. Right. Well, if that's everything from you, it's everything from me. Thanks again, guys, everyone. Thanks so much for watching. Harry, thanks for suggesting this idea. It's always nice to have you on the channel. It was fun to see us both in bright yellow goalkeeper kits. Funnily enough, our last few promotions have come with bright yellow goalkeeper kits. So, is that a sign of what we need for next season, as well as a pink kit, which is one of the kits we had in that season as well, under Paul Tisdale. Yeah, right, guys, thanks for watching. Let us know in the comments below. Have we got it right? Have we got it completely wrong? Are we doing this far too early, or actually are these predictions quite reasonable? And if there's any fans of any other teams watching this, let us know. Where do you think your team will finish? Have we been too biased for MK Dons? Have we underestimated the other promoted sides? Let us know. Get your thoughts down in the comments below. And yeah, we'll be back soon. But I think that does wrap it up for now. And if you've liked what we've seen, if you're a new watcher, please make sure to subscribe to the channel. It helps us both out. And I say us both because Harry's got his own YouTube channel, haven't you, Harry?
yeah, so it's called Harry's Dons and Adventures. So I'll comment it down in the comment section. And yeah, hopefully you guys can subscribe to us both. I've got a couple videos, but next season hopefully going to do a lot more. Going to try and cover some games that I go to. Not all of them will be MK Dons. Some of them will be QPR. Some of them will be Luton. Some of them will be just random teams I stumble across on. So yeah, keep an eye out for that.
Yes, we'll do. It's always nice to see different fan videos of football games. But yeah, like I say, he's been on my videos now for the last 3 times. So if you like what he's had to say, follow that channel. There will be some good football content on there next season, and I'm really looking forward to it. Right. Guys, thanks again for watching. Please be sure to subscribe if you like what you've seen, and let us know your thoughts down below. And as always, come on, you Dons.
Come on.
Up to the Dons. Can we make it back-to-back promotions?
Hopefully, although we both put them mid-table.
Yeah. Well, we shall wait and see. Right, let's end that recording, and thanks again for watching.